Pendulum swinging back the other way in the NFL as running backs are in fashion once again, and there's no better time to have a stacked draft class than now. With the running back class having so much talent, instead of giving you a top 10, I'm going to give you a top 15. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this sucker. Special thanks to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Thank you for sponsoring today's video. More on them a little bit later. Coming in at number 15 is LaQuint Allen out of Syracuse. He's 6 foot, 207 pounds, currently 135th on my big board. I didn't watch this guy until after the Senior Bowl, and I could see why a lot of people like him. And let's actually go through the background first. He was a former 3-star recruit out of the 2022 recruiting class. He played both running back and defensive back in high school, where he was New Jersey's Gatorade Player of the Year. Also played baseball. And then as a freshman in 2022 for Syracuse, his lone start came in the bowl game, the Pinstripe Bowl against Minnesota, where he broke the single game record for receptions by a running back. So phenomenal start. In 2023, he was a second team All ACC. He led the team in receptions as well, being a running back. That's kind of wild. And then started every game in 2024. And when it comes to him, I really like the vision. I really like the shiftiness. Like, he does a good job of finding the hole, navigating close quarters. He's very patient, waits for running lanes to develop. He knows how to get skinny between the blocks, between the tackles. He's got I would say, a strong, tough lower body. Like, he's a tough runner. The dude is a tough runner. He doesn't mind lowering the shoulder and laying in the boom. And that's not to say he's not athletic. I mean, the dude had a couple of hurdles too during this past season. It's just like, golly, he's got that finisher mentality, someone you want around the red zone or in short yardage situations. That's why I put here downhill running back, but also he's got that receiving aspect. Like, he is very sure-handed as a pass catcher, long arms with 32.5 inches on that arm length. And he's got honestly, he's a pretty nuanced route runner as well. And just, he's gonna create all kinds of problems. So you might think, okay, he brings this kind of like 3-down skill set. However, there are things in his game. Like, I don't think he necessarily has like home run speed. Like, he's a long strider, so doesn't necessarily have that burst or acceleration, but you get him going in a straight line, then watch out. Being a taller back, he does play with high pads, and that kind of takes away from his ability to actually force missed tackles or break initial contact. That's kind of reflected in his like broken tackle statistics, like his missed tackle rate per carry, 0.18. That's in the lower percentile. That's not ideal. He had 3 yards after contact. It's fine, but anything lower than 3, it's again in that kind of red area. You just don't want it to be. And I think a lot of that has to do just with like the higher pad level he plays with. It just opens up his lower body, allows him to get tripped up. And you kind of notice that sometimes he stumbles and gets taken down or gets swarmed on after light contact, just kind of getting tripped up and whatnot. My comp ended up being Cam Akers, and that's more so from like the receiving aspect. I think Allen is definitely a more hard-nosed runner than Cam Akers has ever been, but at least his receiving profile, his pass catching profile reminds me of Akers. Coming in at number 14 is Ja'Cory Croskett-Merritt out of Arizona, coming in at 5'10", 206 pounds, currently at 132nd on my big board. And golly, let's talk about this dude's background, because he did not actually play this year. He played in the opener, and then the NCAA kind of came down on him, which the NCAA kind of sucks sometimes when it comes to eligibility, but we'll talk about that in a second. He was formerly a 0-star recruit from the 2019 class. He played running back and was also a returner in high school. He ends up going to Alabama State, where he redshirted his freshman year, and this is kind of where the eligibility thing gets called into question, because the NCAA, the reason why they didn't let him play this year is like, well, we think you played too much during your redshirt year, which kind of nullified it. So it's kind of stupid. It kind of is what it is. He was still at Alabama State in 2020, but they canceled his season. He played in 5 games during the spring season as a reserve. He had 4 starts in 2021, and then he became the full-time starter in 2022. Ends up transferring as a graduate, goes to New Mexico, where, golly, the dude went off. Played in all 12 games, had 10 starts, made second team All Mountain West. He transferred, initially committed to Arizona before changing his commitment to Ole Miss, but ultimately decided to come back to Arizona. Played in the opener, had a hell of a game, had a tutty, had 106 yards, but then the NCAA came down like, hey, 2019, we don't think that's a redshirt year. So he ends up not playing this season, but I would say he revitalized his draft stock with an exceptionally strong senior or a Shrine Bowl. And this is where, like, a lot of people love the work ethic of this guy. He was the practice player of the week, voted by the coaches and the players at the Shrine. He was the Shrine Bowl games MVP, had a phenomenal game there. And I guess let's just talk about the actual prospect, because he's obviously tested well. 4.45 40, 41.5 inches in the vert, 124 inches in the broad. You will notice that the agility drill times are in the red there. They're in the lower percentile, and that's kind of on par with how he is as a runner. Like, he runs with an aggressive running style, like decent athlete going north and south, and just plays violent, like always keeps the legs moving through contact. I'm an utter sucker for that. That's reflected in his forced missed tackle rate over the last 2 years. Granted, this past year, it was just one game, but still, hell of a solid one game. His, I think, what was it? His broken tackles per carry was like 0.54, which is just kind of ludicrous. You'd be like, well, I mean, that's just one game. Well, the year before, it was 0.34, which is still an elite number. So yeah, the dude can break contact easy beasy. Easy beasy? Is that even a saying? Oh, dude, who knows? Who knows? Solid vision, like does a good job maneuvering around tight quarters and keeps his head on a swivel, displays patience behind blockers to allow rush lanes to develop and open up. And I think once he gets going, he can get going pretty fast, but it's that stop-start ability from him, man. This dude can stop on a dime and doesn't necessarily have that change of direction, but he can get going forward and backwards exceptionally quickly. Like, he does a really good job of kind of tempoing his runs to keep the defenders off tilt. And again, I already brought up the work ethic. Let's move to some of the negatives. The dude was a late bloomer. He just was. Didn't really pop off till his final year at Alabama State, had a strong year at New Mexico State, and then goes to play in the Power 4 and doesn't get that chance, doesn't get that opportunity. So basically, he was beaten on a lower level of competition. So those question marks are fair. Those concerns, I think, are valid. On top of that, I didn't think on the field he really had any elite athletic traits. I thought he was a fine athlete, but then when it came to like his lateral ability, it left a little bit to be desired. On top of that, very unproven in the passing game. Not to say he doesn't have that in his arsenal. It's just we haven't really seen it. He didn't do much in the receiving game back in New Mexico, and he wasn't really even on the field as a pass protector. And when he was more of a speed bump rather than actual roadblock. I ended up going with Bilal Powell because I see a guy that can be a very solid running back in the rotation, a guy that you are never going to be unsatisfied with. If he's like your RB2, I don't know, like I don't think he has that like that bell cow in him. But to be fair, we just didn't see it at a high level because the NCAA sucks sometimes. Before we talk more running backs, I got to give a shout out to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. When you download the app, sign up using promo code Broshmo. They match that first deposit up to $1,000. Dudes, it's the best place for best ball, which currently you can draft rookies. I'm just going to say, I would suggest wait to see where they go. But if you can't wait, then get in on some best ball. They do other sports as well, whether it be basketball, baseball is back. It's wild. They do cricket, esports. So they give you a lot of different options to play. They also have their higher or lower on player stats. That's a real fun way to play. They have promos each and every day. So if you want to get in on some of the action over at Underdog Fantasy, download the app, sign up using promo code BROSHMO. But as always, play responsibly and play within your means. At number 13, it's Trevor Etienne out of Georgia, coming in at 5'9", 202 pounds, currently 125th on my big board. And he was a former four-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. Also played basketball in high school. He's the younger brother of Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. And I mean, you could tell by the speed and whatnot. But started his career at Florida, where he was a rotation back, but got a lot of carries, 118 carries his freshman season. And then in 2023, he had one start, still a part of the rotation, decided to transfer, and things got off to a bumpy start at Georgia, where he was arrested for a DUI, and he was suspended for the season opener against Clemson. Did end up starting 10 games, did miss 3 games with a rib injury. I guess let's talk about the DUI first. That's probably what we should start with. He was arrested for drunk driving. I read the police report, came off as kind of a dumb kid doing something dumb, just trying to get home. In no way am I gonna condone those type of actions. That type of just it's not even ignorant. It's just being stupid, just being dumb, putting other people's lives at risk. But he doesn't have a prior history of this behavior. Just kind of banking on that it's a one-off when it comes to ETN. Now, the dude as an athlete, a very, very good lightning quicks. Love the speed. Like in terms of speed, he is a twitched up athlete. He can take it to the house on any given play. He will make you miss with a little shimmy, a little shake. The dude just puts people in blenders. He plays with a low pad level he's 5'9". He's got a lower center of gravity. So yes, he's naturally going to play lower, but I think he actually does play with not just low, but also behind his pads. He's got great stop-start ability that kind of comes with the quicks and the speed. His ability as a pass catcher, it's pretty nice. When given the opportunity, he has showcased, I think, pretty sure hands and the ability to create after the catch. He also brings a little stank as a pass protector. Is it perfect? No, he's still undersized to be doing that, but at least he's willing and able. He also brings return experience to the table. The negatives, the vision, all kinds of inconsistent, man. He likes to run the play as it's drawn up, and I don't think there's a lot of creativity in how he runs behind the offensive line. Like, sure, when he gets out into space or gets into one-on-one opportunities, there's a little more creativity there. I think for the most part, it's still like, okay, I'm faster than you. I'm just going to try to run by you, which is why the comp is James Cook. That was exactly the type of player I thought James Cook was coming out, where it was like, yeah, no, like, I'm just going to run right by you because I'm hella quick. That's who I am. And a lot of that is reflected in Trevor Etienne's play. Also, the ability in pass pro. He's undersized. Like, he does a good job of picking up on blitzes, putting himself between him and the defender, putting himself between the quarterback and the defender. That's a better way to put it, but also more of a speed bump rather than a roadblock. But you're going to kind of see this with this run back class, that they leave a little bit to be desired as pass blockers. Coming in at number 12, it's Bayshaw Tunin out of Virginia Tech. He's 5'9", 211 pounds. He was formerly a zero-star recruit coming out of the 2021 recruiting class, where he was a running back and a kick returner in high school. Also participated in track and field as a sprinter, because you're going to look at that 40 time, you're going to be like, yeah, no kidding. But he ran the 8th fastest 60-meter time in South Jersey history at 7.03 seconds. Started his career at North Carolina A&T. He was really just a kick returner his freshman season. Became a starter in 2022, where he was FCS third-team All-American, made first-team All-Big South, decided to transfer after that year, go to Virginia Tech, where he started all 13 games and was for the Hokies, was also the primary kick returner. And then this season was kind of like just huge, had 15 touchdowns, and that's just rushing, but was second team all ACC, did opt out of the bowl game because, well, got to prepare for the draft. This dude is not just fast. Like, yes, you look at that 4.32 speed, it's there. It's on tape. He's a home run threat at any moment. He's got quicks. He's got acceleration. He gets top speed very, very quickly. And once he gets going, he's hard to catch up to. He just is. But at that 5'9", and you look at that bench press, 24 reps on the bench press, he's got some good contact balance. He's shorter and he's got that lower, or that good low center of gravity. And he runs with his pads in front of him, runs with a good pad level, just takes contact well, keeps his feet moving, keeps going, does a good job of keeping his feet under him as well. You just love that. He also brings just plus ability as a receiver and a return man, though I do wish Virginia Tech used him a bit better as a receiving back, but we kind of saw that at the combine where it was like, well, okay, yeah, you're out here running routes and you look hella good. Hella good, hella smooth. Now let's get to the negatives. The dude's a fumbling machine. He just is. He coughs up the football, which is why I don't have him as a day 2 player. He has over the last 2 seasons, 9 fumbles. That's utterly ludicrous. Like, it almost tanks his stock. If he wasn't just so strong and such a good athlete, it almost tanks it. On top of that, the vision can be a bit inconsistent. And there are times where he just kind of wants to bounce it outside and out-athlete the defense. And then there's his passing game usage, which, I mean, you love what he can do from a tools perspective. However, hands, not so great. 9.4% career drop rate. Pass protection, he's just going to leave a little bit to be desired. But one of the first guys that came to mind was Jerome Ford, who I really liked when coming out of Cincinnati. And he's kind of been that guy, I'm going to one cut and try to take this to the house because I got some speed. I could ramble, but I also got a lower stature so I can eat some of these hits. That's what I feel Tootin is. So I think it's actually a pretty solid comp. People get too caught up in these comps. I'm looking at play styles. When it comes to production, kind of is what it is. When you look at a player, when you look at a player comp, don't think, oh, this is going to be their production in the NFL verbatim. It's not. I'm just saying, oh, wow. They are very similar size and athletic players who play with this style. At number 11, it's my guy. It's Devin Neal out of Kansas, coming in at 5'11", 220 pounds. He was a former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 recruiting class. He played basketball and baseball. He ended up choosing Kansas because he got to play both football and baseball. So in 2021 was an immediate starter. Started 8 games for the Jayhawks. And then 2022 comes around. He's still playing baseball. He started 7 games for the baseball team. Ended up being a full-time starter for the football team. And that's when he was like, I'm kind of good at this running back thing. This is when he got put on my radar. I've been watching this guy for over 2 years now. But he was like, I'm kind of good at this running back thing. I guess I'm going to quit baseball. I'm going to focus on football. And he ended up having his career year, his biggest season in 2023. He had 11 starts, made second team, all Big 12. He could have he could have decided to declare that, because he would have been high on my board when he came to the 2024 running back class. He decides to return. I think maybe a lot of that had to do with maybe some of his goals, wanted to become like the all-time rusher there, which he ended up achieving those goals. In 2024, he became the all-time rusher in terms of yards and touchdowns in school history. Great for him. Let's talk about the cons, because I go back to 2022, it was Tennessee Tech they were facing, and he was getting caught from behind on long runs. And I was like, oh man, I don't think this guy's going to test out very well athletically. Sure enough, runs a 4.58 at the combine, and the shuttle is not that desirable of a number. So you're just going to have to be okay with him being an okay athlete. He just doesn't have that third gear, that breakaway speed to kind of finish those long runs. And I think you can be okay with that. I really, really do. On top of that, kind of struggles in pass protection, just not a lot of sand in the pants, and it just can't set that anchor and gets pushed back into the quarterback. There are times where he tries to cut down the defenders at the knee and leads to some whiffs. Also, this one's more of a nitpick. I feel like his vision on inside, not necessarily inside, but maybe inside zone or looking for backside Russian lanes could be a little bit better. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's a very creative runner with a really good contact balance. He's got a nasty fall step that he uses in close quarters to get defenders just diving in front of him. You love that. Knows how to get skinny between the blocks. I love that. And when he's out in the open field, man, he can just leave defenders tasting dirt. I love that. He is pretty explosive, though. Again, a guy that's more quick, more explosive than he is actually fast. And you can see that whether it's turning up field on a screen play, a swing play, or maybe even just a draw, just plants his foot and then ta-ta, goodbye. I'm going to rip off some yards, man. That's just what he does. The contact balance, I think I already brought that up. It's pretty darn good. Keeps moving his feet through contact. I'm a sucker for that. If you keep churning your feet through contact, I think that's relevant regardless of position. I just do. He had improved hands as a pass catcher, so really the only time this guy's going to be on the field on passing downs is if he's going to be a receiver. But you did see that improvement. And at the end of the day, I felt like Rachaad White was probably the best comparison, or at least shades of, because I would say White's vision coming out was much worse. But in terms of what they offered, in terms of explosiveness, in terms of ability as a pass catcher, I could see some similarities there. You like the NFL draft. Matter of fact, you love the NFL draft, which means you're going to love my draft guide. If you want to know every player your team drafts or even signs as an undrafted free agent, then this is for you. My draft guide updates every day, and you'll be able to see those updates in real time as I add new evals and player backgrounds. It'll have analytics from this year and last year. It'll have the pro day and combine numbers. It'll even have my notes from the Senior and Shrine Bowl. It's a one-time purchase of $30 via PayPal, Venmo, or the Cash App. You can check out the pinned comment or the description if you want to follow those links. And when you do purchase it, please be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. So I'm going to require your email. Don't make me hunt it down because I will hunt you down. I will find you and I'll make sure you get your money's worth. Anywho, thanks for supporting the channel. At number 10, it's my boy out of the U. It's Damian Martinez. Yes, let's go. 6 foot, 226 pounds. He's a big boy. He's a former 3-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. He also participated in track and field doing the 100 meters and the 4x1 and 4x2 relays. So love to see it. Started his career at Oregon. If you didn't know, now you know. Had 5 starts his freshman season, where he was a first-team All-Pac-12. He was Pac-12 Offensive Freshman of the Year, so very involved in the rotation there. And then in 2023, he started 12 games, made first-team All-Pac-12, decided to transfer. And this was a very new scheme where the Hurricanes, they were kind of running more of this man-up gap blocking scheme. Coming from Oregon, it was much more outside zone heavy. And I think at the beginning of the year, you could see him kind of try to adapt to that blocking scheme. And I think he really improved and progressed as the season went on. So you're dealing with someone who I think can really play in a plethora of different blocking schemes. So you love that he has that scheme versatility. But on top of that, 6 foot, 226 pounds. He's a strong boy. He's muscled up. The dude is jacked. He carries his weight hella well. He's tough to bring down. He's a nightmare. I don't want to hit him. More so, he's hitting me. And it would hurt. He looks like it's painful to bring him down. It looks like it would be painful to bring him down. And he just does a good job of weaving through traffic. Like, he's got much lighter feet than you would expect. It's kind of a weird blend of speed and power, because he ran a 4.51 at 226 pounds. And he cuts really well, shows really good burst after planting that foot, keeps his head on a swivel looking for those cutback lanes, and does a good job of getting to top speed pretty quickly to be able to pull away from those second level defenders. Like, if he's going to get caught on a breakaway run, it's going to be by these corners and safeties and such. Really good vision, good patience. Again, that improved this year in a new system. Looked good. It's just he's never really been used as a pass catcher or pass blocker, just limited use in the passing game. Might limit him to being a kind of role specific, early down back or goal line, short yardage. So it just might limit his opportunities. But I think you saw a little bit this season. I think that pass catcher can be in there. I think it can. At that size, stop-start ability, it's just not going to be his cup of tea. Like, still, he's a pretty surprisingly good athlete. So I'm not shocked that the stop-start ability isn't phenomenal. I'm not shocked that his change of direction is pretty average. That's not who he is. That's not how he's built. I really like how he's built, so I'm kind of fine. I'm kind of A-okay with that. I forgot who my initial comp was here, but I saw Trevor Sikkema have his comp as Jeremy Hill. And once I saw that, I was like, oh, hell yeah. I remember that breakout year for Jeremy Hill with the Bengals. Former LSU running back. I'm pretty sure he was LSU. I don't know. It's been such a long time. But I was like, I like that comp. I like it. So I took it. At number 9, it's DJ Giddens out of Kansas State, coming in at 6 foot, 212 pounds. Former 0-star recruit from the 2021 recruiting class. He wasn't highly touted just because of his grades, though. So it's like, okay, how did a guy this good not be a high-level recruit? Well, he didn't take school seriously at the moment, like many of us in high school could probably relate to that. But he ends up going to Kansas State. He redshirts or blue shirts his freshman season, trying to become eligible and whatnot. He ends up being a part of the rotation in 2022, but it was really 2023 being the breakout year where he started all 13 games. And then this past season, he ends up making second team all Big 12, started all 12 games that he played in, did opt out of the bowl game to prepare for the offseason draft process. And I think we saw a lot of improvements in his game. Because coming into the year, I was like, I kind of feel like he's this new style of Niners back, right? Where the Niners have kind of gravitated to these man gap blocking schemes. They've gone with more condensed formations. We've seen Sean McVay. Sean McVay was doing it first after both those guys being more wide zone blocking schemes. And that's kind of where I was at. I thought DJ Giddens, his vision was like, he kind of needed to be told where to go and have limited options. I think this year you saw him expand that. And now maybe I feel a bit better about him being in these outside zone, wide zone blocking schemes, because he's certainly a really good athlete. I think he can be that one cut and go type of guy. He's got light feet, very good patience, has a good feel for tight quarters. He lets his blocks or his blockers have time to kind of create these openings, and he just kind of hits that hole with solid bursts. Extremely strong lower half, despite being a very tall runner, running with high pads, running upright. He does kind of open up his lower body to taking on some unnecessary contact, but he again, strong lower body. He's able to eat some of that and keep going. And again, that vision just really improved, and which is why he is a third round prospect for me, 89th on my big board currently. Also, there's some pass catching upside if he can learn how to catch the football. I mean, we might as well talk about it. He had 5 drops last season. Just you got to be better at catching the football, bro. You just got to be better, because there's a really good athlete out there. There's a really good athlete who, if you get him out in space, we're talking about, okay, big gain, moving the sticks. Would love to see it. Also, I talked about running with the high pads. I don't think he necessarily runs with that violence either. Like, he's more so the punching bag rather than the puncher. So there is that. Limited in pass protection kind of is what it is. Really good in a straight line. I thought he tested out more explosive than he actually was on tape. Like, he's got good bursts, but a 39.5-inch vert, 130 inches in the broad, those felt bigger to me than what I saw on tape, but maybe that's just me. He gave me some Hubbard vibes, which Hubbard should have been drafted much earlier than he was. A guy whose vision improved year after year. He showed that patience between the tackles, behind the tackles, waiting for things to develop. And he's become a very fruitful running back for the Panthers now. So that's kind of where I'm at with Giddens currently. At number 8, it's R.J. Harvey out of Central Florida, coming in at 5'8", 207 pounds. He is an older prospect. He is 24. He came out of the 2019 recruiting class. He was a 3-star recruit. He actually played quarterback in high school, but was largely viewed as a running back recruit. He would go to Virginia, redshirt his freshman year, and basically immediately transferred. Ended up finding himself at Central Florida in 2020, where he played in 5 games, basically as a special teamer. Unfortunately, in 2021, he tore his ACL prior to the season, so didn't get the chance to play. And it wasn't until 2022 he had 3 starts. It was like, okay, there's a hell of a good player there. And then in 2023, it was like, okay, no, there is a hell of a good player there. He went for over 1,400 yards. And this season ends up going for close to 1,600 yards. He was first team all Big 12. There's a lot to really like about him. He is quick. He is fast. He's got great stop-start ability. He's built low to the ground at 5'8". He is literally touching grass. He is tough to bring down. Does a great job of keeping his feet under him and shows good lower body strength. Keeps the feet moving through contact. Again, I'm a sucker for it. I'm just a sucker for it. Good vision and shiftiness. However, there is a bit of that big play animal in him. He wants the big play, and sometimes you'll see him get a little too bouncy and try to bounce things to the outside and win with that speed rather than sticking behind the blocks and letting things develop. So there's a little bit of that there. He tested extremely well. He's a good athlete, but he's also a smaller guy who's got shorter strides. So I didn't think he was going to test nearly that well. So, hey, I'm not mad at it. I'm just not. He's a very willing pass protector, but he's still undersized for it. Again, you're gonna hear me say it again. Sometimes more of a speed bump rather than an actual roadblock. But he's a really good pass catcher. It really is. 267 receiving yards this past year, 3 receiving touchdowns. So you just want to get him out in space in the passing game and let him do work. Austin Eckler kind of felt like the perfect comparison here. Shades of someone who's very dangerous in the receiving game. Actually, I want to take a quick gander. Austin Eckler Pro Day results. There we go. Because no, don't give me Austin Eckler's or Austin. I'm getting Wyatt Eckler's, his brother. If you didn't know, Austin Eckler has a brother, but They're trying to give me his results. So yeah, Austin Eckler. This is more in the lines of how I thought RJ Harvey was going to test. 4.4, 840. Let's see. In the vert, still explosive as hell. 40.5 in the vert and 128 inches in the broad. So the explosive numbers are kind of on par. But I was a little bit shocked at the 40 times. So Harvey did run a hell of a lot faster than I anticipated. But the dude's a monster. Like, if you didn't know, his force missed tackles per carry was 0.3. He had 69 force missed tackles this past season. Nice. He's a hell of a fun player. I'm a fan. At number 7, may surprise you, it's Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. He's 6'1", 224 pounds, currently 79th on my big board. People will think I dropped him because the 40 time wasn't that great. And it's not like I had him kind of like fringe top 50, but there's a lot of guys that I like in this class. I mean, to be fair, I don't think he moved very far down in my running back rankings. It's just I got to this defensive tackle and edge class. I keep wanting to move guys up. But let's talk about Caleb Johnson real quick and maybe some of the nitpicks I have with him. He was a former 4-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. He played basketball, also participated in track and field. Ended up having 6 starts as a freshman, and then in 2023 had 5 starts, did miss some time with an ankle injury. And then in 2024, he was suspended for the first half of the season opener for violating team rules, but he was a starter from there on out, was first team All Big Ten, opted out of the bowl game to prepare for the draft. Here we are. The dude is has a great build, and he combines that with really good burst, even if, like, I feel like he's faster than that 40 time, and that's kind of where we get into the Tyler Algier comp, if you will, because he's kind of a cut and go. He's got sharp cuts, gets the top speed really quickly, and the contact balance is really, really good. And it's not like he's got crazy lateral ability, because I just don't think he does. He can be shifty in a sense of he knows what to give oncoming defenders. Like, once he gets to that 4th, 5th, 6th gear, he's tough to bring down. He really, really is. And defenders will just bounce off of him. And I think much like Tyler Algier does a good job of like knowing what angle, if I'm going to run into this guy, what is the best angle that I can do this from? There's like a little shift, a little veer in how he approaches the defender and what will keep me upright. So that's the comparison that I drew there with him. Just good balance. I think he's got home run ability. I think he showed it at Iowa. Strong lower body. Let's get to the cons, I suppose. I think he was behind a very good blocking Iowa offensive line. Like, you got like Connor Colby in this class. We're going to be talking about a couple of guys next year. Like, Logan Jones is legit. I think they got a tackle that's really solid too. But that's for the 2026 NFL draft. There were times where he would be inconsistent, I would say, with his vision. Maybe he'd get impatient. And rather than letting those blocks develop, he would just he would put the, what is this saying? The foot to the pedal? The pedal to the metal. Golly, there it is. And would run into the backs of his offensive linemen. So I think he's probably at his best in an outside zone blocking scheme where he can get outside, but also can have that vision, be like, okay, is there a cutback opportunity? But for the most part, you're really just picking between 2 to 3 different possible paths in front of you for the most part. So I don't know. I was just kind of not 100% satisfied with his vision. But on top of that, like, he runs with a high pad level. It didn't really make much of a difference. He had a 66 force missed tackles this past year, a 0.28 force missed tackles per carry, which that's a hell of a good number. His yards after contact, 4.42. That's a hell of a good number. So, bit of a nitpick. Like, okay, he runs with high pads. didn't really matter. Overall use in the pass game, I think in time he will develop some of that. Like he ran the basic running back route tree, kind of is what it is. As a pass blocker, I think he probably deserved more goes because he's got the build for it. So I think there's probably a good pass blocker in there. So there's a guy that's good at pass protection. It's just we didn't really get the opportunity to see it. But like Caleb Johnson is still one of the best backs in this class. He just becomes the victim of it being a really, really good running back class. Coming in at number 6 is Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. He's 5'8", 200 pounds. He's currently 70th on my big board. He's a former 4-star recruit out of the 2022 recruiting class. He shattered former NFL and Dutchtown alum, again, this is in high school, Eddie Lacy's school rushing record. He also participated in track and field as a sprinter, running a 10.48 second 100-meter dash, a 21.16 second 200-meter dash, and a 4.32 40-yard dash, which he actually ended up running a 4.42 at his pro day, which, I mean, the guy's fast. It's kind of irrelevant. The guy's fast. He had a 4.0 GPA and did volunteer work in South Africa. So, hell yeah, you go, bro. You go. He ends up going to Tennessee. He was a small part of the rotation as a freshman, 58 carries. And then he played in 12 games with 1 start in 2023. This year was kind of the breakout year. Again, keep in mind, they had, oh my gosh, 2023 Dolphin player now. It's like Daryl Wright. That doesn't sound right. You know who I'm talking about, though. Regardless, he became a full-time starter this year, made first team All SEC. He did only play a few snaps in the first game of the college football playoff because of a hamstring injury. Still finished the year with just under 1,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, rushing that is. And he's an explosive athlete with really good vision and really good patience. He has a really good accelerator and just knows how to push down on the throttle once he sees daylight. He tempos his speed pretty darn well in a straight line, being able to mess with defenders and their angles, and his ability just to win when going to the corner, beating defenders to the sideline. Very hard-nosed runner as well, like really good contact balance and demonstrates a really strong lower body, continues to drive his legs through contact, and is hardly ever forced backwards on initial contact, which is huge. Really, really big. Consistently just kind of finds the correct lanes to hit. Granted, in Tennessee's scheme, they provide a lot of space, but he was consistently hitting the right holes. There's a pass catching upside there. Don't know why Tennessee didn't take better advantage of that. Kind of is what it is, but he has shown very soft hands as a pass catcher, and he's just the type of athlete that's just terrifying to take on one-on-one in open space. When it comes to some of the negatives, the lateral ability, it's okay. Like he's got okay stop-start ability. He can't necessarily like stop on a dime, as they say, and the change of direction is okay. The fumbles are probably the biggest concern. I mean, he had 4 fumbles this past season. You just can't put the football on the ground that often. In pass protection, like needs to continue to add mass. He just struggles to anchor down, relies a lot on just chop blocking, going at the legs, leads to a lot of whiffs. I just really don't like him in pass pro. And if you have him on the field in the passing game, is to be utilized as a wide receiver. I get a lot of Sean Tucker vibes from him. I loved Sean Tucker coming out of Syracuse. The dude only went undrafted because he had a heart issue pop up at the combine that ended up being a big nothing burger. And he's seen some success there at Tampa Bay, a part of that rotation, but he also had that just home run ability and felt like he could have been used a little bit better in the passing game there at Syracuse. At number 5, it's Cam Skattebo out of Arizona State, coming in at 5'10", 219 pounds, 59th on my current big board. The comp has been a fun thing. If you follow me on the X, I put out a post, was like, hey, what's your comp for Cam Skattebo? I had a few of them, but couldn't really decide on any given one. A lot of y'all really like the Maurice Jones-Drew comp. I think ultimately, I think I settled on Kareem Hunt, and then I saw Mike Renner bring up Ahmad Bradshaw, and I was like, oh, I really like that, because I knew I just wanted someone that runs really low to the ground, and that's kind of Cam Scatterbo. Let's go over the background first with him. He was a 0-star recruit coming out of the 2020 recruiting class. His brother Leo played football at Bowling Green. He started his career at Sacramento State in 2020. They canceled the 2020 season because of the Rona. Ended up playing in 9 games with 4 starts in 2021, made 3rd team All Big Sky. And then he played all 13 games with 11 starts, was the Big Sky Conference Offensive Player of the Year, made 1st team All Big Sky, was a 2nd team All-American, then decided to transfer as a 3-star JUCO recruit or JUCO transfer. Lands at Arizona State, had 7 starts in 2023, and that kind of began the hype train, because this was a dude that was like, oh, he's just a good football player, sneaky good pass catcher. He could block, he could play special teams, had the occasional pass, he punted even at Arizona State, but this year was just so big and so huge. Ended up being a 1st team All Big 12, did miss 1 game with a shoulder injury, which, I mean, that with his physical style, he might end up missing games. He just might. But he couldn't run any lower to the ground if he tried. I have seen this guy feel like his head and shoulders are mere a foot away from the ground. He gets so low and he plays with such leverage, and he just keeps the feet churning. He's just got impeccable balance. Truly impeccable. Top of that, he's a strong physical runner, kind of has that old school bruiser feel. That's why some people have thrown like Mike Allstott out there as a comp for him. But like I said, sneaky good pass catcher. His hands, pretty solid, man. Better than you would expect from this type of back. And you look at over his career, 57 forced missed tackles on 111 receptions. He's a playmaker, man. He's a legit playmaker. The reasons why people probably aren't high on him, and that included myself coming into the year, was just lacked the ideal athletic traits. I ended up running a 4.57 for, which honestly, anything under a 4.6, and I'm like happy with when it came to Scatterbo. The vert was much better than I anticipated at 39.5 inches, but still, his game's gonna be power. It's gonna be balanced. That's just who he is as a runner. Fumbles, 10 career fumbles, kind of a lot. Just kind of is. A lot of it has come on second effort, with him just kind of fighting and grinding to get every inch that he can. And when you are hard to bring down, it's going to allow defenders to swarm and get their mitts in there and just scrape and claw at the football. So, I mean, I don't know, what do you do about that? Just like, hey, maybe hold on to the ball a little bit better. But again, this is a dude with a lot of mileage also on his on his engine. As a pass protector, like he's good. He won't concede ground, but there are times where it's like he's got that football player in him where, okay, I want to annihilate this guy. He'll go for the kill shot, and it just leads to him whiffing. Like he just ducks his head too many times and tries to go head first, shoulder first into a blitzer, an extra rusher, and he ends up whiffing. So kind of is what it is, but he feels undeniable. I don't know if he could ever be the guy in the backfield, but he's got an all-around skill set. He might not have the speed you desire, but with that type of contact balance, I wouldn't put it past him of being a lead back in the NFL. I really, really want. He's just a football player you want on your team. At number 4, it's Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State, coming in at 6 foot, 221 pounds, former 3-star recruit out of the 2022 recruiting class. Initially played at Ole Miss, where he was an immediate starter. He had 6 starts in his freshman season where he split time with Zach Evans. That's a name to remember, right? But he ended up being a first-team All-SEC. He was also the SEC Freshman of the Year. Had another really good year at Ole Miss where he was a first-team All-SEC and decided to transfer to Ohio State, where it was like, okay, well, Travion Henderson's coming back. Like, why are you going there to split time? Do you think that might hurt your draft stock? And it was like, no, I'm a team player, man. I'm out here and I want to win. I think Ohio State, they're going to win. And they did. They, in fact, did. He ended up being third team All Big Ten, played in all 16 of their games. He did have hand surgery during the season. That didn't stop him. He went for over 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. But let's start with some of the negatives, because this season felt like he didn't run with the same type of violence and creativity as he did in 2024. I thought we may have saw that player a little bit more down the stretch for Ohio State, but it really felt like he was either just like running the play as it's drawn up or just kind of smashing himself into the back of the offensive line. I know Ohio State had some injuries along the offensive line this season as well. But like this wasn't what I was expecting, at least early on. And part of that maybe had to do with like the role. He was the early down guy. That's just who he was. I will say what I love about him: the patience, the explosiveness. He's very fierce as a runner. He's very fierce. Runs with a low pad level. He's sudden. He can be vicious. He knows when to put down the throttle and hit the hole. He's got vision like that. He really, really does. Even if it was a bit of a mixed bag this past season, he's dangerous out in space. People forget, man. Like when Lane Kiffin would put him in one-on-one situations, whether it was like tosses, swing plays, screens, where he would have to go one-on-one with a defender, and he could put these guys in an absolute blender. Very good back. But 2024 was a bit of a lackluster year by comparison to the last 2 seasons, what they were. It just was. Wasn't used much as a pass catcher, and his pass protection does need a little work. Like, he's got the body of a pass protector. It's just, you would wish maybe a little bit more physicality in some regards, not to dip his head when trying to engage on these blitzers, extra guys coming in pressure. But at the end of the day, man, I really got Joe Mixon vibes. Joe Mixon, just someone who, it might not be fancy, but it's effective, it's efficient. That's kind of what I think Judkins will be in the NFL. Effective and efficient. And then at number 3, I have the other Ohio State running back, Travion Henderson, coming in at 5'10", 204 pounds. And this past season was kind of a welcome back. This isn't the guy we haven't seen this guy since his freshman season. Love to see it. And let's just kind of go over the background before we get into the player, as he was formerly a 5-star recruit out of the 2021 recruiting class. He was the number 1 recruit at running back, finished his high school career with over 4,000 rushing yards, 50 touchdowns. He was Virginia's Gatorade Player of the Year in 2019. And that was when he ran for over like 2,500 yards or close to, and 45 touchdowns. It was kind of insane. He also ran track in high school, which makes sense. He's fast. That freshman year for Ohio State, he was a second team All Big Ten. He had 11 starts. It was magnificent, but then injuries set in. They crept in. He started 8 games in 2022, missed 5 with a broken bone in his foot and torn ligaments. He suffered the injury versus Toledo in week 3 and tried to play through it and just didn't really work out. And then in 2023, he started 10 games, but he missed 3 with an undisclosed injury. He still ended up being a first team All Big Ten, but it was during this time where like it was just kind of the mental anguish of like, I don't feel like the guy I once was. He suffered from like sleep paralysis, depression. He talked about suicidal thoughts. This is a dude that like, he's got some mental toughness. He is a man among boys. He is a leader of men. You could go to any interview, whether it's him talking about some of this stuff or his teammates or his coaches, like they just heap praise about his mental fortitude. And you love to see it. And 2024 was that bounce back year. Third team All Big Ten, played in 16 games with 9 starts, had also over 1,000 yards. He finally looked healthy again. He's got honestly a good build. He's really explosive, actually. He looks shot out of a cannon. And when he plants that foot and goes, then ta-ta, goodbye in some cases. He legit has daylight. He legit has that type of speed. Once he sees daylight, he can be gone. And we saw that in points this season. He's very elusive out in the open. He plays with quick feet. It's got some serious shimmy and shake to him, which I love. Just a flat out play maker, good vision, very scheme versatile, whether it was like zone or gap. I thought he always did a pretty good job last season. The ability as a pass catcher is unparalleled. Just a great pass catcher. He, over the course of his career, again, and we're taking out 2022 because that was just the really banged up, injured season. He had 71 receptions with 38 forced missed tackles, only 2 drops during that time. And this is someone who lined up in the slot, lined up out wide. So he's got a little bit of that versatility to him. Now, when it comes to some of the cons, there are times where he can do a little bit too much behind the line of scrimmage and could get him into trouble and could create negative plays. The contact balance, he's more of a make you miss type of guy rather than someone who's going to eat contact. And this past season, yes, the forced missed tackle numbers were better, but when it comes to actually taking initial contact, there have been struggles in the past. There have. And he might not be this bell cow type of running back. I think he is going to be someone that is going to be a very good part of a running back duo. He is going to be someone you want to give 10 to 15 touches to a game because you know any one of those touches could go to the house. But it's going to be kind of like a Knuckles and Sonic situation like we see in Detroit with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, though Gibbs and Montgomery are guys that can do it on their own. I don't know if Henderson could ever be that guy, though we did see a bit of that in his freshman season. So let's not talk like that guy's not in there. There are times also he runs a little too upright, which again takes away from the contact balance. When we talk about these guys who have the shimmy, who have the shake, who have the speed, who have that receiving upside, I always think Lamar Miller. Miami Dolphins, great, right? Lamar Miller. Fins up, baby, fins up. I was a sucker for Lamar Miller's game, and Henderson, I'm a sucker for his game. I only have him a couple of spots higher than his teammate Juckins. And then at number 2, at 31 on my big board is Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, coming in at 6 foot, 221 pounds, former 4-star recruit out of the 2022 recruiting class. Also played basketball and participated in track and field. His brother played corner at Chowan University, and his cousin played wide receiver at North Carolina A&T. So he's got a little bit of pedigree in the family. Had 4 starts in 2022, and it was very apparent that this is the guy moving forward. He ended up having 12 starts in 2023. Was a second-team All-American, and then this past season was a first-team All-ACC. Started 12 games, opted out of the bowl game, of course, because, again, got to prepare for the offseason draft process. Some people are going to have this dude higher. That's just going to be the case. I suppose I'm still stuck in my ways when it comes to the running back position, but when we get to number 1, we're going to be like, am I? Am I really? But running back, I know the pendulum, like I said at the beginning of the video, the pendulum's swinging the other way when it comes to the running back position. But I still think to some regard, especially in a stacked class, it's going to make me want to move some of these guys back down the board and maybe prioritize some of the other positions. That's just kind of, you become a victim of how deep of a running back class it is. And I think that might be the case for Hampton. So maybe some people have him more accurately put, I suppose, on their big boards. 31 still hella high. It really, really is. I don't think I had Javonte Williams this high on my big board when he came out, and I loved Javonte. Didn't work out. Injury. I mean, honestly, he was a stud his rookie year, and then injury hit, and just hasn't been the same player since. But I didn't have him this high on my board. Hampton, I like that combination of size, power, and explosiveness. That's scary as hell. It is. He packs a punch. Despite being tall for the position, he's able to get low to lower the shoulder. Doesn't mean he doesn't run with high pads, because yes, he does. He's 6 foot. He runs higher than, he runs a bit more upright. Basically opens up the his lower body to contact. He just doesn't care. He runs through that contact. He's like, hey, screw your contact. Forget you, bro. I love it. I love it, man. But he can lower the shoulder and lay the boom. Just really good contact balance this past season. 67 forced missed tackles. He had a missed tackle rate of 0.24. The year prior, it was 0.26, and that's per carry. Past 2 years, he's averaged well over 4 yards after contact, a really, really good number. So you love to see it. Nimble footwork, honestly, like with good bursts. Nice jump cut, explodes off his plant foot. That combination of speed and power. It's just nice. It's hard to stop. Good luck finding a negative gain on tape, because I'm not saying he could create something from nothing more times than not, but he's at the very least not going to get stopped in the backfield, and you love that. He's got a better passing upside than you would expect. Like, okay, no kidding, at that build, he's a good pass protector, but much better receiver than you would anticipate. 373 receiving yards. Heck yeah, like he's got soft hands. He can create after the catch just simply by being hard to bring down. That kind of reminds me a little bit of Breece Hall when he was coming out of Iowa State. Though I do have David Johnson as the comp, because I think Omarion Hampton might be a little bit better as a pass catcher than Breece Hall was. Breece Hall ran a very simplistic route tree for a running back. It was just basically, hey, get the ball to me and I'll make something happen. Which, hey, that's still valuable. That's still hella valuable. When it comes to some of the weaknesses, I think his vision so inconsistent. He's not always seeing the lanes the same play to play to play, which is a bit interesting. Like, he very much wants to be a downhill runner and doesn't want to waste a lot of time in the backfield. But I would like to see maybe a little bit more patience when in the backfield. But that's not to say you don't see that patience on tape, because you do. But it's a bit of hills, bit of ups, bit of downs. Like, okay, there it is. Okay, it's gone again. There it is. Okay, what are we doing? It was kind of hard to figure out, right? High pads, I kind of already brought that up, but I like the player quite a bit. People are going to be higher on him than I am. And I think I probably have him at 31 just because it's a really good running back class. So he ends up getting pushed down a little bit. But I think for the most part, we all generally see Omarion Hampton as a first round type of prospect. And then at number 1, I have Ashton Jeanty, and we could just end the video here. You already knew it was coming. We've been talking about Jeanty all season, but I suppose let's talk about him a little bit more. He's 5'9", 211 pounds, former 4-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class, played running back, wide receiver, defensive end, linebacker, and safety in high school. Golly. Also played basketball while participating in track and field. Showed up at Boise, had 2 starts as a freshman, and it was like, okay, there might be a little bit of something here. And then he explodes on the scene in 2023. I love his 2023 tape because they actually utilized his receiving upside, which is why you see the Alvin Kamara, shades of Alvin Kamara, but I still think there's also some Aaron Jones there. I couldn't settle on which one that I liked better. Some people might have Barry Sanders as a comp out there. I don't think he's got that type of like cut-in ability, but I get it that you got a guy that's got this nice low center of gravity, great contact balance, just good agility and speed. But yeah, he ended up being a second-team All-American in 2023. And then he had just a bonkers year. He was the offense for Boise State. He started all 14 games, made first team All Mountain West. He would finish second in the Heisman. He would come home with the Maxwell and the Walker Awards. He was also a unanimous All-American first team, mind you. He had over 2,500 yards rushing, almost 26. He was 5 yards away from 2,600 yards rushing, 29 touchdowns on the ground, also added one through the air. Freaking phenomenal, man. He's not going to test out his pro day. He didn't do any of the workouts. I'm not worried about it. I could care less. The tape speaks for itself. He had 151 forced missed tackles this season. You might be like, well, that's because he had 375 carries. His missed tackle rate was 0.4. His yards after contact, where you hear me like talk about, oh man, some of these guys had 4 yards after contact. That's a really good number. He had 5.24. This is ridiculous. He's got a shorter build. He's sturdy. He's buff. I love it. I love these bowl and ball builds. I just do. He's got in the backfield. He just stands up. That's like how he looks like Michael Myers. You could hear the Halloween music going. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not a guy with an ear for music, but you know what I'm saying? He's a cold-blooded killer in the backfield. And then he just takes it. I remember like, okay, let's get into some of the other things and then I'll start reminiscing on plays that I like from Jeanty. Light on his feet, really good burst. He bounces around with ease. He's a fluid athlete, good stop-start ability, very natural receiver. Even though we didn't see it last year, we saw it in 2023. You could just check that off the box. Plays with grit, isn't afraid to mix it up as a pass protector. Does a good job of hitting the point of attack really hard. Had a lot of touches in 2024, and at no point did it feel like he took plays off or slowed down. People will reference the Penn State game. It was like, see? He only had big numbers because he was playing in the freaking Mountain West. And it's like, we forget the Oregon game? Like, y'all forgetting the Oregon game? And don't even tell me Oregon's not that good of a defense. They have multiple players that are going to be being drafted in this class with like Caldwell, Birch. You have Bassa. Like, they had some dogs. And that's not even including some of the guys that might get drafted in the first round next year. That was a good defense. Y'all just sleeping. I remember didn't even mention Derek Harmon, by the way. I remember Jeanty looked like he may have got stomped, but he's moving the feet. Harmon comes in to kind of finish the tackle. And some way, somehow, Harmon knocks into that pile. And the only players that hit the ground are Harmon and 2 other Oregon players. Jeanty bounces it to the outside and takes it for like another 50 or 60 yards. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was like watching Super Mario bounce on a Goopa and just like, and then go 50 yards. It was utterly insane. It was nuts. And you could go to that Penn State game. He had like 15 forced missed tackles. It was just Penn State where they were filling the box. They were like, hey, beat us with the pass. We don't care. We're stopping Jeanty. We know your offense. We know your offense. We're going to stop Jeanty. And if you can beat us in other ways, then do it. Unfortunately, Boise State could not beat them in other ways. Then Jeanty was still like, this man's getting hit in the backfield and he's still creating like 1, 2, 3 yard gains. I mean, he was consistently hard to bring down. And people are going to point to the fumbles. And again, I said this with Cam Scatterbo. These are second effort fumbles. Him continuing to fight, continuing to stay up, continuing to move forward. But it allows players to swarm. It allows players to scrap and claw and get in there and rip the football out. So what do you do about that? I don't know. Maybe go down a little early on second effort. Know when the play is dead. We hear this all the time with quarterbacks. Maybe with running backs as well. Hey, know when the play is dead, wrap that ball up, focus on just not turning the sucker over. A lot of mileage for Jeanty. He has over 800 touches past 3 years. So there's a lot of mileage. You're going to worry about the tread on the tires. But again, this guy did not feel like he slowed down at any point this past season. Very willing in pass pro, but you're going to worry about it at 5'9". You just are. Shorter. Is he going to be able to get get the anchor down and stop these guys efficiently? But he's so freaking good. I have him 5th on my board, and I'm not a guy that likes putting running backs in my top 10. I think entering the year I had Jeanty around 16, 15, and it's just like, I don't know. He's undeniable. He just is. But like I said, this is a very stacked running back class, and it really hurt not to include some of these guys. So I want to give shout outs to guys who just missed the list, being my next 5 up. I have all 5th round grades on and are just behind LaQuinn Allen, who was my 15, being Brashard Smith. At SMU, I got Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech. Jaquez Hunter out of Auburn, I really like quite a bit. Jordan James out of Oregon. Kyle Monungai out of Rutgers. All were in vying for that 15th spot. And then, I mean, there's also a couple of other guys that I like kind of mid to late day 3, like Raheem Sanders out of South Carolina. Nate Carter out of Michigan State. Just watched him recently. I was like, oh yeah, I can see why people like him. And then you got Woody Marks, was kind of my dude, coming out of Mississippi State, had a strong year at USC. So it's a stacked class, guys. It's just stacked. Let me know who are some of your favorite running backs in the comment section below. That's it for the video. But as always, till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later. And of course, special thanks to our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Remember, promo code BROSHMO.